Good afternoon, welcome to VANIK-IAS. We will discuss current affairs for 29 July. First, we will discuss the objective questions and then previous facts and one main topic. Consider the following statements about suspensions of member of parliament. Right? The chairman of Rajya Sabha is empowered can direct any member whose conduct is, in his opinion, grossly disorderly to withdraw immediately from the house. Yes, they have the power that is according to the rule of procedure. Rule of procedure, rule 255. Right, he can direct any member to take back his statement. Right, whose conduct is grossly disorderly, um, whose conduct is not appropriate. Right. The Speaker of Lok Sabha may, if deems it necessary, name a member who disregards the authority of chair or abuses the rules of the House by persistently and willfully obstructing the business thereof. Right? Namely, member, yes, he can necessarily name a member. Right? He can necessarily name a member who disregard the authority. Right? Abuses the rules of houses. The maximum period of suspension for this is reminder for the session, right? Yes. We say recently Aam Aadmi Party member is suspended. That is why it is in news. So here all the statements are right regarding suspension of suspension of a member of parliament in case of Rajya Sabha. So suspension can be maximum for the remainder of the session, and he can declare a member who is obstructing the procedures of the house, and he can specify that he can ask a particular member to withdraw his statement immediately. The model requires the landlord and tenant to sign a written agreement which specifies the rent, period of tenancy, and other related reforms. What is the regarding Model Tenancy Act? It requires the landlord or a tenant to sign a written agreement which specifies the rent, period of tenancy, and other related terms. The security deposit is capped at 2 months' rent for residential premises and 6 months' rent for non-residential premises. Right? So, for tenancy act, if you are taking a property on rent, then you have to give a security deposit of 2 months, and for non-residential premises, that is for commercial premises, it is 6 months rent is to be provided. That is the according to Model Tenancy Act. The Model Act requires the landlord and the tenant to sign a written agreement. Right? There should be a written agreement. So both the statements are right here. Right? There will not be any verbal agreement. Otherwise, what happens in case of verbal agreement? There will be disputes, especially those people, those who gives the rent, they are the usually they are the rich people, and those generally who so especially there is those who are powerful person, they can misuse the things. That's why everything should be written according to the Model Tenancy Act. Consider the following statements regarding Ramsar sites. The Ramsar Convention, signed in February 1971, is one of the oldest governmental accords. Yes, that is signed in 1971, one of the oldest intergovernmental accords signed by the member countries to preserve ecological characters of the wetlands of international importance. Wetlands of international importance. The difference between wetlands and lake is that lake is the depth of water in a lake is very as much more as compared to a wetland. Wetland has shallow depth. Right? It is rich in biodiversity. And all the wetlands of international importance for further conservation, this Ramsar Convention has been signed in 1971. So, first statement is right. World Wetlands Day is observed on 4th February. No, this is not 4th February. This is 2nd February, right? 2nd February is the World Wetlands Day. On the occasion of World Wetlands Day 2022, India has added Khijadia Wildlife Sanctuary in Gujarat. Yes, Khijadia Wildlife Sanctuary in Gujarat. It is very important. And Bakhira Wildlife Sanctuary in Uttar Pradesh to the Ramsar sites in India. Yes, These two are included in the Ramsar sites. There is Kichadia Wildlife Sanctuary in Gujarat and Wakira Wildlife Sanctuary in Uttar Pradesh in Ramsar in India. Recently, the tiger reserve, that is Ramgarh Visdari Tiger Reserve in Rajasthan, has also included, and also there is uh, another that and also there is by there is something called Nanjarayan tank. The bird sanctuary Nanjarayan tank of Tamil Nadu is also got included. Right. Next, consider the following statements about man and animal conflict. Statements about man and animal conflict. Odisha accounted for the highest number of elephant killing, followed by Jharkhand. Yes. Odisha accounted highest number of elephant killing. Elephant are killed man animal conflict because there is deforestation, and elephants are encroaching the for urban settlements, urban areas or rural areas. They are causing massive destructions. So all these things are because of the deforestation. The major reason is deforestation, man animal conflict. Many times they came across with the electrical lines, and that's why when it is obstructed their path. Many times they came across the railway lines. That's why there is death of an elephant. In this regard, Odisha accounted highest number of elephant killing, followed by Jharkhand. Man-animal conflict refers to interaction between wild animals and humans. Interaction between wild animals and humans, which results negative impact on people, animals, resources, and habitats. Yes, we have to conserve the biodiversity, because the role of elephant in a jungle is very important regarding the preservation of the forest. Right? If there is no elephant, no tiger, nobody, there will be no forest, because they are protector of the forest. People do not enter to those areas in the fear of the elephants. It occurs when growing human populations overlap and establish wildlife territory, which creates competition of space and resources. Obviously, right, when growing population overlap and establish wildlife territory, that creates competition of space and resources. That then man and animal conflict started. So all the statements are correct with these questions. Is a conceptual question. Right? Next, consider the statements regarding light-mantled albatross. Light-mantled albatross. They are native to Antarctic areas, Antarctic seas. Light-mantled albatross, and their IUCN status is near 30. Both the statements are correct. Light-mantled albatross. Both the statements are correct regarding near 13. IUCN status is near 13. IUCN specifies which species are near 13, critical endangered, then and vulnerable or endangered, right? Or extinct. With reference to Sun Temple of Modera, it is by Solanki, that is by uh, mm, yes. So it is situated in the bank of river. Just a second. Yes. So with reference to Sun Temple of Modera, consider the following statements. It is situated on the bank of Sabarmati, and it was built during the reign of Bhima I of Chalukya dynasty. Second statement is right. It is not in bank of Sabarmati. It is in the bank of the river Puspavati. Right? River Puspavati river. Puspavati river, that is situated in the bank of that is Modera Sun Temple is situated on the bank of Puspavati river. right? And it was built during the reign of Bhima I of Chalukya dynasty. So only two statement is second statement is right. Then consider the following statements about Swedas Darshan scheme. Swedas Darshan scheme, right? It is tourism scheme. It is central sector scheme. Central sector scheme means all the funding is done by the 100% funding is done by the central government, right? It was launched by Ministry of Tourism to develop theme-based circuits. Theme-based circuits means Ramayana theme-based, Krishna theme, Buddhist circuit, Ramayana circuit. These are theme-based tourist circuit. That is central circuit. That is Swadasa Darshan scheme. There is another scheme regarding development of tourist places. That is Prasad scheme is there. Hriday scheme is there. The development of tourism, right? Prasad scheme and Hriday scheme. In Hriday scheme, certain religious places they are given feeder scheme they are given in case of certain religious places uh, they are given huge I mean huge various resources from the central government to develop the infrastructure. For example, in case of Puri they have given around 900 crore for development of the um, Puri tourism site, right? So this is hidden scheme. So both one and two are right answer. Snow leopard is naturally found in which of the following states? Jammu and Kashmir, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Uttar Pradesh. Snow leopard is naturally found in case of. See, the Uttar Pradesh, in Uttar Pradesh there is no snow. It is not a hill. There is no hill station. So obviously this statement is wrong. Jammu and Kashmir, Arunachal Pradesh, and Sikkim. 1, 2, 3 are the options that are right. Snow leopard. Recently, Charudat Misra, uh, Charudat Misra has got uh, Whiteley Gold Award. Whiteley Gold Award because of conservation of snow leopard. Gold Award because of conservation of snow leopard. Charudat Misra. So 1, 2, 3, all the options are right. Then Virunga National Park, UNESCO World Heritage Site, was in news recently. Where it is located? It is located in Democratic Republic of Congo, Congo in Africa. Virunga National Park. Why it is in news? Because six members were killed by the some militants in those areas. They were in a vehicle. They were in a vehicle and they were killed by the militants. That's why Virunga National Park was in news. So the rangers of a particular forest are killed by militants. That's why it is in news. Virunga National Park, that is in Democratic Republic of Congo. Then system of rice intensification of cultivation, in which alternate wetting and drying of rice field is practiced. Alternate wetting and drying, right? That results in reduced methane production, and reduced electricity consumption. So in this rice system of rice intensification, wetting and drying of rice fields is practiced. That reduce seed requirement, methane production, and also electricity consumption. So all the statements here are right regarding system of rice intensification. These are some agriculture practices, sustainable agriculture practices. So questions, the question is finished. This question is finished. Now we see some objective questions. Sorry. Now we'll discuss some prelims fact. After that, we will discuss fiscal federalism. State of India's fiscal federalism. First is suspension of tea. Recently, 9 members of parliament are suspended from Rajya Sabha for a week. 9 members are suspended from Rajya Sabha for a week. So, what are the rules? Rule 373. The speaker, if the opinion that the conduct of a member is grossly disorderly or is inappropriate, he may direct member to withdraw immediately from the house. Withdraw immediately from a house any member so that the withdrawal shall do forthwith and shall remain absent during the remainder day of the sitting. Right? If somebody is behaving like unruly manner, not according to the principle of the rules or procedures, then the speaker has the right to say that to withdraw his statement. If somebody is withdrawing his statement, he will leave that house for that day. To deal with more recalcitrant members, the speaker may course into the rule 374 and 374 way in which he can suspend a particular member for a certain period of time. In according to this rule 274 374, it says the speaker may, if deems necessary, name a member who disregards the authority of the chair or abuses the rules of house by persistently and willfully obstructing the business thereof. Right. So the speaker may necessarily, who the speaker deems necessarily, name a member. He can name a member who is persistently obstructing the business of the house. If somebody is obstructing the business of the house, the speaker has the right to name him according to the rule 374. If a member is so named by the speaker shall, on a motion being made forthwith to put question, that the member be suspended from the service of the house for a period not exceeding the remainder period of the session. Right? He can put it into a motion. On a motion, he can put it a motion to suspend a particular member if his behavior is unruly. Right? If his behavior is unruly. Provided that House may at any time on a motion being made resolve that such suspension be terminated. But anytime this suspension can be terminated by the speaker. So the speaker on a motion can suspend a particular member for remainder period of the session. Right? For example, we have three sessions a year. So for remainder period, a particular member can be suspended. A member suspended under the rules shall forthwith withdraw the precincts of the house. Right? Precincts of the house. The member suspended under these rules and forthwith withdraw from the precincts of the house. Rule 374A was incorporated in the rule book into December 5, 2001. The intention was to sort out of the necessity of moving in adoption of motion of suspension. Right? Moving and adopting the motion of for suspension. It was incorporated in 2001 because many times it has seen that the opposition member, it is called a decline of parliament. At present time, since last few decades, we have been seeing that this decline of the parliament and state legislature. There is less debates, there is more conflicts, there is disturbance inside a legislature, and that is why this motion is important. This decline of parliament, it is also a question of means. They can ask a question regarding decline of the parliament over the time, and because various eminent, for example, Hamid Ansari, Vice President Hamid Ansari, he has written in detail about various these issues like decline of parliament. The hours of discussions is also decreasing just because the members are creating such type. The opposition members usually, whoever in the opposition in states and also in central government in parliament, they are creating disturbances. That's why there is hardly there is many times there is suspensions, many times there are because of such behavior. Quickly there is passing of bills, right, without proper discussions. There is also unruly behavior of the opposition. The decline of committees, also committees are not functioning properly, they are just becoming ceremonial. So all these things are happening. That is, we can call a decline of parliament. There is also we can say that there is lack of women participation. Hardly there is 15% of women. So there is no gender equality inside the parliament. And also we can also say that there is criminalization of politics. Around 80% of most of the around more than 70% or 80% of the of the member of parliaments have criminal cases against them, and more than 85% are crore there. So it has become a there is criminalization of politics. That means high money and muscle power is being used to become a parliamentarian, and that is a big issue. You can write a long question with respect to it. Right? Next, according to Rule 374A, notwithstanding anything contained in Rule 373 or 374, in the event of grave disorder occasioned by a member coming to the well of the house, abusing the rules of the house persistently and willfully obstructing its business by shouting slogans or otherwise, such members shall, on being named by the speaker, stand automatically suspended from the surface of the house for 5 consecutive sittings or remainder of the session, whichever is less. 5 consecutive sittings or remainder of the session will be, for example, in case of, that's why the members are suspended for 1 week. Provided that house may at any time on a motion being made reserve that such suspension be terminated. That means anytime the house is interested to bring them back, it can do so. Right? Such suspension they can terminate. On the speaker announcing the suspension under this rule, the member shall forthwith withdraw from the precincts of the house. Right? So whenever speaker announcing the suspension under this rule, immediately they will withdraw from the house, right? From the house premises, from the, that is from the discussion premises. In case of Rajya Sabha, Rule 225, it says that the chairman Rajya Sabha is empowered under this rule to direct any member whose conduct is inappropriate to withdraw immediately from the house. Right? He can say that immediately. If you are behaving like that, you may get immediately withdraw from the house. If he will not do that, he will be suspended. Right? Many times what happens, usually they getting suspended. They behave like that because they come in the news. If a particular member is suspended, then here they are getting media attention. That brings, if somebody is disputed, then they are bringing media attention. Then they will, their, because their charisma increases. Their charisma in opposition increases, right? That's why they willfully obstruct the motions of parliament, right? So that is why they usually willfully they disregard the authority, and also they say that these suspensions are basically politically motivated. That's why they disturb the house to get the media attention, right? That increases their charisma. Politics is all about charisma. So under Rule 56, Chairman may name a member who disregards the authority of the chair and abuses the rules of the council by persistently willfully obstructing the business. In such a situation, House may adopt a motion suspending the member from the service of the House for a period not exceeding the remainder of the session. Right? So he can be suspended. The House may, by another motion, terminate the suspension. Next. So these are, so in both almost the rules both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, and they can be suspended at any time. If they are behaving like that, they can be maximum suspended up to the remainder of the session, and minimum five consecutive mm, 5 consecutive days of houses, 6 consecutive days of houses, and there is Model Tenancy Act. Next is we will discuss, that is Model Tenancy Act. The recently government cleared the Model Tenancy Act to regulate the rental market. It has cleared the Model Tenancy Act. Right? Only 4 states have revised their tenancy laws being aligned with the Model Tenancy Act. As per information available in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, the state of Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Assam have revised tenancy acts on the lines of MTA, on the lines of Model Tenancy Act. So Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, and Assam, they have revised the tenancy acts on the lines of Model Tenancy Act. Modern Tenancy Act aims to regulate the rental market and unleash the potential of the real estate sector. Aims to regulate the rental market, right, and unleash the potential in the real estate sector. Then, Modern Tenancy Act. Agreement and security deposits. The Modern Tenancy Act requires the landlord and the tenant to sign a written agreement which specifies the rent and period and tenancy and other related terms. The security deposit is capped at 2 months rent for residential premises and 6 months for non-residential premises. That is for commercial premises. So that is commercial premises, the security deposit for me that will be 6 months, right? And in case of residential premises, the security deposit will be for 2 months. Eviction of tenant. The condition for eviction of tenant under the Model Act include refusal to pay the agreed upon rent if somebody is not paying the rent properly, failure to pay rent for more than 2 months if somebody is not paying the rent for more than 2 months, occupation of part or whole premises without written consent, like without written consent. That means without there is part of the whole premises. You are occupying a particular area which is not you are given the permission, then that is also eviction of tenant. Misuse of premises despite written notice. Misuse of premises despite written notice. Then the tenant may be evicted. The Modern Act establishes a three-tier quasi-judicial dispute adjudication mechanism consisting of rent authority, rent court, and rent tribunal. The Model Act establishes a three-tier quasi-judicial dispute adjudication mechanism: rent authority, rent court, and rent tribunal. No civil court will have jurisdiction over matters pertaining to provisions under Model Act. No civil court will have jurisdiction, right? Adjudication mechanism, that is rent authority, rent court, and rent tribunal. So especially there will be no civil court. Their cases will not go to the civil courts because civil courts are already overburdened with the cases. Next, establishment. The rent authorities and rent courts may be established by district collector with the approval of the state government. They may be established by the district collector with the approval of the state government. The state and union territory government may establish a rent tribunal after consulting with the judicial high court. State and union territory may establish rent tribunal after consulting with a judicial high court. They may establish a rent tribunal. Then model for urban and rural properties. The Act provides model for urban and rural properties, templates for residential and commercial properties, and templates for residential and commercial properties. Next, Ramsar sites. Ramsar Convention. It is international. It is a convention for wetlands of international importance, taking the total number of Ramsar sites in the country to 54. 54 Ramsar sites we have in total, right? 54 Ramsar sites. Next, India is designated for five wetlands of international importance. Five new wetlands. What are these five new wetlands? Now these are very important regarding the prelims. Karikali Wildlife Sanctuary of Tamil Nadu. Karikali Wildlife Sanctuary of Tamil Nadu. Palikaranai Marsh Reserve Forest of Tamil Nadu. Palikaranai Marsh Reserve Forest of Tamil Nadu. Pichavaram Mangrove Forest in Tamil Nadu. Pala Wetland in Mizoram. Pichavaram Mangrove Forest in Tamil Nadu and Pala Wetland in Mizoram. Sakhyanagar in Madhya Pradesh. Sakhyanagar in Madhya Pradesh. So these are the new sites. These are the new Ramsar sites. What are the wetlands? These are the new Ramsar sites. Wetlands are land areas which are seasonally or permanently flooded with water. Seasonally or permanently flooded with water. That means low and marshy areas. Ramsar Convention definition includes areas of marsh and peatland water, whether natural or artificial, permanent or temporary, with water that is static or flowing, fresh or brackish salt, including areas of marine water, depth of which low tides doesn't exceed 6 meters. If the low tides depth that is doesn't exceed 6 meters, then we can consider as it as a wetland. Fish ponds, rice paddies, and salt pans are human-made wetlands. Right? Rice paddy, they are also wetland because that is not exceeding 6 meters. So we see many biodiversity in those areas. Right. Next, significance of wetlands: conserve biodiversity. Wetlands play a vital role in conserving biodiversity. They purify and replenish groundwater. They purify, replenish groundwater. There many times there is questions regarding wetlands. So these statements, all the statements are right. They also help fight climate change. Right now, it is the biggest problem of the world, that is climate change, and we have been taking significant steps, right, like renewable energy and other steps to prevent climate change. It is a climate change means permanent transformation of weather. So to stop that, wetlands, they help fight climate change because they are very rich in biodiversity. Wetlands also known as among the highest soil carbon densities. Therefore, they play a major role in buffering the carbon dioxide emissions. Right? They act as a carbon sink. They absorb huge amount of carbon from the atmosphere that helps us to reduce atmospheric pollution. Next, ecosystem services. Wetland provides wide range of important resources and ecosystem services such as food, water, fiber, groundwater research, water purification, moderation, erosion control, and climate regulation. Wide range of important resources and ecosystem resources such as food, water, fiber, groundwater research, and water purification. These are the various ecosystem services that are provided by the wetlands. Next, prevent flooding. The wetlands serve as a natural sponge against flooding and drought. Flooding and drought, natural sponge, right? Because in drought they can also help because they stores water. In case of flood, also they can absorb water, right? So they play natural sponge against flooding and drought. They play a role in preventing urban flooding as well. They can prevent urban flooding as well because they can store a huge amount of water. And a home for wildlife. They offer a perfect place for animals to be safe and hidden from predators, perhaps from the air, as well as provide a lot of diverse foodstuffs such as grasses, mosses, and other plant life. There is huge plant of life, huge biodiversity in case of the wetlands, and and the animals be safe and hidden from the predators. Predators means those who kill. For example, tiger kill. For example, uh, your tiger kills a deer. That is we can call as a predator, right? Erosion control. Wetlands help in erosion control and protect our coastlines. Right? They act as buffer areas. They protect our coastlines because they are rich in biodiversity. Huge amount of plant species are seen in the wetlands. So the plants they conserve the soil, they prevent the soil erosion of our coastlines. Tourism. Acquiring this level Ramsar sites will help local tourism potential and international visibility, and the conservation of those Ramsars will be important. Many times the Supreme Court declares, for example, in case of Tamil Nadu, such cases have happened. Supreme Court has declared a particular area as sensitive area, ecological sensitive area, because many times we have seen because of urbanization, we are encroaching various wetlands, right? We are encroaching various marshy lands or wetlands which are very rich in biodiversity, right? So this is very important regarding to prevent urban flooding and soil conservation. NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter (MRO). What is this MRO? NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Recon, rec, NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter (MRO). Recently, scientists from National Aeronautics and Space Administration (NASA) released fast piece of multispectral maps made by the compact Reconnaissance, reconnaissance, reconnaissance imaging spectrometer for Mars, right? Reconnaissance imaging spectrometer for Mars, that is CRISM. Compact ray reconnaissance imaging spectrometer for Mars, that is CRISM. This is released by NASA. About NASA's Mars, okay, what is this MRO? It is launched. It was launched in 2005 and reached Mars in 2006. NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has been mapping minerals and on the red planet and for the last 16 years with the help of CRISM. So it is mapping minerals in the red planet, right? This MRO, that is Mars Reconnaissance, that is mapping the minerals in the red planet in the Mars. CRISM is visible infrared spectrometer whose primary goal is to look for mineralogical evidence for past water on the surface and subsurface of Mars. Mineralogical evidence for the past water on the surface and subsurface of Mars. Next, aim is to evidence to search the evidence that water persisted on the surface of Mars for a long period of time. MRO, it is searching for water availability in Mars. These studies are identifying deposits of minerals that may have formed in water over long periods of time. That means they are expecting that there may be presence of water for a long period. Looking for evidence of shorelines of ancient seas and lakes, analyzing deposits placed in layers over time by flowing water. Yes. So as there is deposits of minerals, they are expecting that there is for a long time there was presence of water in the, and they are looking for any ancient evidences of ancient seas or lakes or any type of deposits. So that's why they are searching for some minerals they can get it by. This is the MRO mission of Mars, launched from 2005. Access. Anyone can access these maps from NASA's Planetary Data System website. Anyone can access these maps from NASA's Planetary Data System website. It has and it managed to map 86% of Mars surface, and with its multispectral mode detected nearly all of the minerals on the surface. So almost all of the minerals on the surface have been mapped by MRO mission, that is NASA's Planetary Data System in order mentioned in the Planetary Data System website. Hyperspectral mode. The coverage goal of multispectral mode was 80%. Multispectral mode was 80% owing to the limited lifetime of the coolers needed by the infrared detector, but it has managed to exceed that goal. The hyperspectral mode, which uses the wavelength from the visible and near infrared detector, does not require cryogenic cooling and has attained more than 99% of coverage. So it has attained around 99% of coverage, and the coverage goal for multi-sector mode is 80% due to limited lifetime of the coolers needed to infrared detector. But I managed to exceed the goal. So it has almost covered the major areas of in hyperspectral mode. It is observed above the radiations that are from the Mars surface. It has also this MRO mission. It has detected the minerals around most of the minerals, and mapping of Mars is already almost it is finished. Mission objective. The mission main goals is to map Martian landscape, which is almost 80%. 80% it is finished, and high resolution cameras in order to to choose other landing sites for future missions. There is also other landing sites where the satellite will land. So there is high resolution camera as required as well. There is high resolution camera as well. These include Phoenix lander, which will explore Martian Arctic, and Mars Science Laboratory, a high maneuverable rover. MRO will help planners evaluate both scientific value and the landing risk for possible landing sites for these missions. It will help planners to evaluate both scientific value and landing risk for possible landing sites for these missions. So, overall, the topographical studies are done by the MRO regarding landing, regarding minerals, and regarding the radiations that are coming out of Mars. Then, to characterize the present climate of study the climate of Mars and how climatic changes from region to region occurs in case of Mars. Investigate complex terrain of Mars and identify water-related landforms. Is there any landform? Is there any structure on the surface of the Mars um, which is complex, or is there any form of water? Because if there is mineral, many times we can see that over a time that are converted into something else that can be also detected. Proof beneath the surface for the evidence of subsurface layering, water and ice, subsurface layering, water and ice, and profile the internal structure of polar ice caps. What is the structure of polar ice caps? If there is any other material that is inside or ice, we can find, right. Identify the characterized sites for the highest potential for future missions where land Mars surface will land, right. Where in those sites in which we can land our missions for next mission to Mars. Relay scientific information to Earth from Mars surface missions. It will relay, that means live telecast. We can say mm, scientific missions uh, for Mars surface missions. Right. Human-animal conflict. Recently, the Minister of State for Forest, Environment and Climate Change has stable data on human-animal conflict in Lok Sabha. Minister of State for Forest, Environment and Climate Change has stable data regarding human-animal conflict in Lok Sabha. Right? Human-animal conflict in Lok Sabha. It has been increasing. Why human-animal conflict is increasing? Because of deforestation, because of urbanization and industrialization. We have there is massive deforestation through various parts of the world, and because of in case of India especially, there is massive deforestation because we have a high population. We have a very high population. There is, and so our population is even next year will become the largest population, the country with largest population in the world. Right. Uh, Next, key findings. What are the key findings regarding non-animal conflict? Different modes of killing among elephants. 222 elephants were killed by electrocution across the country. Right? Electrocution. Why electrocution is happening? If Because if in a forest area there is villages and there is electric line supplied, obviously they will get electrocution, right. It is very difficult to displace those people from those areas. Simultaneously they want development, right. If there is particular, because of there is obviously there is democracy, there is vote bank politics, the local leaders they promise to give them electricity and other facilities. When they give them electricity and other facilities, as they are related to the jungle, the forest, obviously they will come across the electricity lines, and when they come across the electricity lines they die. So around 222 elephants are killed by litigation across the country. Next, 45 by trains. One Odisha out of 12 or 45 has highest number of elephant deaths caused by trains. Followed by West Bengal and Assam. Right? 29 by poachers. Poaching deaths are highest in Meghalaya, while poisoning the deaths are highest in Assam. Poisoning deaths. Poaching deaths to take their even poach there for various elephant parts of his body. They are they have been poaching. They poach us, right? For medicinal purposes or for commercial purposes, they kill the elephants. Tiger killing. Among tigers, 29 are killed by poaching between 2009 and 19 and 2021, while 197 tiger deaths are under scrutiny. Why it is happened, that is nobody knows the reason. Human casualties of conflict with animals. Elephant killed around 1579 animals in 3 years. Right? 585 in 2020. So these are the statistics. Around 500 every year they have been killing. So man-animal conflict is increasing. We have to increase our forest areas. Right? There should be buffer areas in which there should be no. Buffer area, there should be no settlement, human settlement. But this human-animal conflict, the human beings are they are not interested to distress from those areas, and they are blaming the government. For example, in a particular area, there is forest, right? We have to understand that forest is for animals and urban areas is for man, human being. And we need forest. We need forest more than them as well. So forest is meant for the animals. Animals cannot live in urban areas. Right? The problem is that these areas, near the forest areas, if there are human settlements, obviously there is human settlements, and that human settlements are increasing, right? And because they have power of democracy, they have voting power. There is obviously demands by political leaders to provide them infrastructure and also to provide them various facilities like electricity and other things. Another thing is that they are settled in those areas. Earlier they are living with living in harmony with them, but now they are suffering the problem of death. Why they are suffering? Because of electrocution. And there is commercialization, there is poaching also. So displacing those people from those areas is a very difficult task. Displacing them and rehabilitating them, that is a big problem, right? So these are human animal conflicts. That's why the problem is it's not I mean, it's not getting solved easily. States wise elephant killings, Odisha account the highest number of deaths in 322, followed by Jharkhand and West Bengal, Assam, Chhattisgarh, Tamil Nadu. So there is these are state-wise elephant killings. Tigers killed around 125 humans in reserves between 2019 and 2021. 125 humans. Maharashtra accounted for nearly half deaths. Around 61 people are killed by tigers. Human-animal conflicts. It is the interaction between wild animals and humans which results in negative impact on the people, animals, and resources and habitats. It occurs when growing human populations overlap with established wildlife territory, which creates competition for spaces and resources. Conflicts between man and animal have occurred since the dawn of humanity. However, it has come to light over frequently in recent times. In recent times, we have been witnessing such type of more and more occurrences in which that is the health of the in which both animals and human beings are getting affected by human animals conflict. Main cause of human animals conflict include habitat loss. Right, one of the major problem is habitat loss and growth of population of wild animals. Growth of population of wild animals. Changing cropping patterns to attract the wild animals to farmlands. Obviously, if they say the cropping patterns, for example, rice fields, they come to eat them. That is also a problem. And movement of wild animals from forest areas to human-oriented landscape for food and fodder. Right? As there's facing the scarcity, earlier there was a huge areas of forest. Now it is declining. So they are suffering also the food crisis. That's why they are moving towards the human-dominated landscapes. Movement of human beings to forest for illegal collection of forest produce. Illegal collection of forest produce. When they enter to the forest, they also are killed by the animals. They are also angry and irritated by the human interaction. Habitat degradation due to growth of invasive alien species in certain areas. Invasive alien species are they enter and they create habitat degradation, right? Environmental degradation occurs because of invasive species. For example, in case of Vanik wetland, in case of Vanik grassland of Gujarat, that is because of invasive species. Most of its areas are getting degraded, right? the functioning of Niti Aayog, right? Niti Aayog it is replaced by, the question is regarding, write this question regarding the functioning of Niti Aayog since its inception. Since its inception, write the functioning of Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog is the planning body. The planning body is Niti Aayog. It is replaced by the planning commission, right? There is a team, there is Team India Hub where there is the Prime Minister, there is Prime Minister, and there is the Chief Minister and Chief Minister of the states and Lieutenant Governor of Union Territories. Right? That makes a plan. It is this Niti Aayog, especially it. What is the job of Niti Aayog? That is planning. That is decentralized planning. The problem with planning commission, which was existing before 2015, was from 1950 to 2015, was simply that planning commission, it was planning, but the planning was centralized planning. That means state central government was deciding, state government was only implementing. But now in case of Niti Aayog, what will happen? It will be, mm, these things will be, uh, decide. This planning will be done by decentralized manner. That means states will participate in the plannings. State will participate in the planning system. Next, what is cooperative federalism? This Niti Aayog, it is especially enhanced cooperative federalism, right? Because of decentralized plan. Then is competitive federalism. Niti Aayog, every year it releases various indexes, right? Various indices is released by the Niti Aayog to compare various states. For example, recently MSME award, MSME ranking. There is innovation ranking. There is health sector ranking. All these rankings are done by the Niti Aayog. Shared national agenda. Niti Aayog has both, that means all the leaders they decide knowledge and innovation of that adopts the world's best practices. They observe various practices in a successful practices in a particular state. Then monitoring and evaluation of various schemes are also done by Niti Aayog, and reforms in the agriculture. How can, because India is agricultural state, all these research are done by the Niti Aayog. Independence, the integrity of the independent institution to guide the government. Too many voices. Niti Aayog has constituted large number of members. Yes, because there is huge. There is in the federal chamber there are so many members. Lack of active actionable targets. Expectations. When an institution older than a half a century is replaced by new one, people look up into us bringing immediate change and the development. Right? Has huge expectation from the institutions, right? So because they want some meantime they want populism measures, right? For example, they want subsidies. All the people they want subsidies, but subsidies are always harmful to the nation. So the facilities should be given only to the poor based on the principle of distributive justice. So for today discussion is over. Thank you.